Thank you, Madam Speaker. I rise in opposition to this bill, and if I may make a few comments and a very brief couple of quick questions.
Please proceed, Madam.
Thank you. First, I'd like to say that I tend to disagree with the assessment that has been made here this evening that this proposal is innocuous. I believe that if we do go out, it is a two-pronged process, but if we do go out with an RFP proposal and the second portion is actually continued, that it would be in violation of the compact, and then we would risk losing the $270 million that the two tribes have contributed, and the $7.5 billion we want to remember that they have contributed over the last 25 years. But also that this legislative body did pass a bill last session that allowed the casinos to combine their plans and to go forward with East Windsor. And I would just like to go on the record to point out that in southeastern Connecticut, the two tribes employ 12,000 employees, and I have thousands in my district that rely on these good-paying jobs to continue to protect their families and to make a good living. So we do, in fact, risk that if this proposal were to be to go to fruition with an RFP that was chosen. But I do have a question to the proponent of the bill.
Please proceed.
Thank you. First, and I know you may have answered this yesterday, so I do apologize, but I did go through the testimony that was supplied. And could you remark if the consumer of development has agreed to this? Economic Community and Economic Development has agreed to that they are able and capable of going out for an RFP process? Thank you, Madam Speaker. Through you.
Representative Staffstrom.
Madam Speaker, as I answered yesterday, I have not had that conversation directly with them. If testimony was submitted during the Public Safety Committee process, then the testimony is what it is. Through you.
Representative McCarty.
Thank you for that answer, but in reading the testimony, the Commissioner clearly states that they do not have that expertise, and the gaming industry does not fall within their purview. Secondly, if I may, Madam Speaker, continue with a new question.
Please proceed.
Thank you. I would just like to hear, I don't see any provision in the current legislation that indicates what would occur, for instance, if the RFP went out and a developer, an individual, or a business was chosen to go forward. Is there any provision? How do we have any safety measure that if the developer, and I've seen this consistently throughout the state, goes forward and they fail, and this evening we keep hearing about how the two casinos are struggling for survival at this time, so how would that leave the state if we were to lose the money that we're gaining currently? We've broken the compact, so now we don't have the funding from the two casinos, and the new casino fails. Thank you. Through you, Madam Speaker.
Representative Staffstrom.
Through you, Madam Speaker, I guess I would quibble a little bit with the premise of the question at the beginning. As I've stated numerous times here today, I have not seen any legal support for the position that by allowing an RFP, we would be in violation of the compact. It's my understanding, and the testimony from the Attorney General's office has been fairly clear. I believe that the tribes would continue to be obligated to make their payments unless and until at least the point at which the legislature were to come back in and authorize the construction of another facility. Through you.
Representative McCarty.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. And through you, while I disagree with that appraisal, because the RFP is to send out the RFP alone may not be in violation of the compact, but if we go to the next step, we are in violation, and therefore we do risk losing the funding that the tribes contribute right now. So I'm just curious as to why would we go through that process? Through you, Madam Speaker.
Representative Staffstrom.
Madam Speaker, to the extent this RFP is successful and there are bidders and one or more bids is submitted to the legislature next year, I'm sure we would have a robust debate at the committee level and ultimately here on the floor about that exact point. You know, like I said, I think that that would all need to be spelled out in the RFP in an honest, open, and transparent manner, and we could evaluate that at that given time through you.
Representative McCarty.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. My comment to that would be that this, in some effect, is truly another casino expansion piece of legislation, because if the casinos break their, if we break the compact with the tribes, and they continue that, as you had pointed out earlier, the East Windsor project could still continue, so we would have 3 casinos, and then if we accepted a proposal out to RFP, we could potentially have 4 casinos in the state of Connecticut. And in such a small state, I don't think we want to saturate our state with so many casinos. Thank you. Through you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you, Representative Staffstrom.
I didn't catch a question to that, Madam Speaker.
Representative McCarty.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I was just making the comment that do you see this as the potential to being an expansion of casinos in the state of Connecticut?
Representative Staffstrom.
Yes, Madam Speaker, and of course the RFP calls for an economic analysis of whether, in fact, another casino could be supported in another region of the state. That would be part of the RFP that's submitted through you.
Representative McCarty.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. And I will just end on saying again that I think the 2 tribes have been here in the state for over 350 years. We've built up in the last 25 years mutual trust with them. They've been good partners, as was mentioned earlier, doing plenty of philanthropic activities. And in discussions with them, I too am concerned about the societal impact and effects on gambling in the state, and they have promised to continue to support those initiatives, to work with us on mental health initiatives and substance and abuse treatment. So I am concerned about those areas, as some of my colleagues have said, but overall this to me is a job protection for my southeastern Connecticut. So I will oppose the legislation in front of us tonight. Thank you very much, Madam Speaker.